Good evening, Tanika. This is Tisha, Alternatives Beauty Studio. Um, and here's my sister.
I'm Tanika Gillar. I am naturally yours here in Alabama.
So, Tanika, I had a very productive, busy day today. How was your day?
It was a good day. I don't know why I'm so tired because I didn't have a lot of work today, but it was a good day.
I did
It
have
was a
work
good day.
today, and I actually just got in from work today. But it was a good day. And before we get started, you know how we always have to give our shout outs and stuff like that. I want to
Mhm.
say thank you to Tamika James. I was in one of her classes this week and I won two prizes. And I just want to say thank you to her for that. And thank you for always the support and the mentorship. So I just want to say thank you to Tamika James. I had a great time. I learned a lot and I will be rewatching for the next 2 days. And thanks. I will be implementing some of the things that she has taught me. So I just wanted to say again, thank you, Tamika James. It has been fun.
You
Um,
have to explain to the people who don't know who she is, just give a little bit of background.
Tamika James, she is the founder of Extensions Expo. We did that earlier this year, Tanika. We were
Yes.
educators on that. And she does like a lot of mentorship. She does a lot of technical. Right now, she's on the technical side of things. So if you need help with business questions, social media, having your presence out there, she does a lot of things like that, coaching
Okay.
to help people in the field. She's no longer behind the chair. And so that's like, where I want to be coming from behind the chair soon. So
Okay.
that's what
That's
Tamika James is.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Y'all are watching Twin This with Tisha and Tanika. So yes, yes, yes. What's going on, T?
So tonight we are talking, we have been, COVID has been here for 1 year next month. And so many of us had to homeschool our children, and a lot of us don't know how to do it, don't enjoy doing it. Kids are just tossed to learning something they don't know. So tonight, our guest is Miss Cheryl. Cheryl has been a client of mine since I opened, and she does my websites. She she does a lot for me behind the scenes, even besides, the technical stuff that I need for alternatives. She is my right hand girl. When we first met her, Sasha was working for me at the time. We called her the computer whiz. And to this day, she's still
I
mine.
was gonna say, is she
Computer
kind
whiz.
of nerdy? She kind of nerdy.
Well, there comes the homeschooling. Let me bring her on.
I'm definitely nerdy.
So, hi, Cheryl.
Hey, hi Tanika, hi Tisha. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, yes, am I nerdy? Yes, I prefer a bookstore and a computer store to the clothing store any day.
Okay.
Any day. So, what do you
Cheryl,
guys want
talk
to
to us. I want to know because you have three children.
know?
One who has graduated high school via homeschooling. The next
Right.
one is graduating this year via homeschooling. And you have your son who has 4 years to go.
If
Talk
he
to
lives.
me. How did you decide that you wanted to homeschool your kids? What made you decide that?
Um, I could blame my mother. Because when I was younger, I was sick a lot. And so she did my lessons, and every summer we would always pick up. I don't know if you remember, but they had the books. It's like second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth
Yes.
grade. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
she would go through that for me during the summer. And then even though I was sick a lot during the school year, I still was in the top echelon of students. And so I couldn't figure out how she taught me in 2 months what took them 10 months. So by the
Wow.
time I was 16, I was sick of school, and I was just like, okay, if I ever have kids, I want to homeschool. And just for the record, um, I went to Stuyvesant High School. I was a good student, so I wasn't sick of school because of that. It was just I felt like I had better things to do at my time.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how I got into that. When I had Jade, um, my husband thought I was crazy, but that was
One
okay.
second. Where does Jade fit in on the children's scale?
Okay, Jade is my eldest child. She's 21. I don't know how, but she is.
What
Um,
happened?
yeah, I know, right? Um, he wasn't too sure about it because he went to Catholic school all his life, and his daughter went to various schools. But when he saw that she was reading at 3, he thought maybe I wasn't completely insane. And then by the time we got to Alea being in school, he was on board, because that's very important. You can do it without their support, but it's better if the other spouse is on board with it, because somebody has to be the principal when people get on your nerves.
So you started your kids young,
Yeah.
from what I'm understanding. And I was the same with like you. I would get my son the books from Books A Million for the grades and everything. And he used to love the library and stuff like that. So we're talking about homeschooling, and we know that you started your babies off young.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep them engaged as they continue on?
Okay. One thing that I did even when they were little and we were learning, I think one misconception with homeschooling is that you're replicating a schoolhouse or a schoolroom. You're not. I made homeschooling integral to our household and our living. So, for example, and I made sure the kids never told my mother, so she probably doesn't know, ever found out. But like when we did math, I drew a number line over the linoleum in the kitchen, and Jade was kinesthetic. So
Okay.
we would hop the number line. So 2 + 2 equals, and then she'd try to hop over to the other side. We
Okay.
did that when we did reading. I bought those foam letters, the big
Hmm.
ones you put down so the kids don't hurt themselves. And I would have her jump as she spelled her words for the day. We had a magic carpet for history. And we would take the magic carpet around, and then we would land, and then I would read them a history piece. And then from there, because they were still little, I had them draw out what was the most important part. Because yes, she was learning to spell, and yes, she could read, but that's all really intensive. And my main thing was for her to love learning and to retain the information. I wasn't
So,
married to okay, we need a 100-word report,
Right.
because
right.
you know
But
how many
as they got
people.
older, see, that was easy when they were younger. As
Mhm.
when she got into high school and she had work to do.
Um, Actually, the girl is the boy. Have me back in 4 years. Okay. The girls were fine because they had been trained from when they were younger. This is what we have to do. They would get their work packet. They knew what they had to do for the week. At the end of the week, I wanted to see it. And I didn't care when they did it, how they did it, but it better be done. And so they learned to manage time. Michael is a whole, I don't even understand him. It's a whole other story.
Most
Michael, I
boys.
just say what you all do. It was just like, did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? Oh yeah, right there. So he's a separate conversation. So by the time the girls were older, I didn't really have to do a lot of management with them, because they're self-sufficient and they like learning. And just to clarify one thing, when my mom got sick with cancer, I put the girls into cyber school, because that's 2 separate things. Cyber school means the teachers are teaching them, and homeschool means that I have them. So Jade actually graduated from cyber school because she was already nearing the end. She was close. She was already in high school when my mother got sick, and so she just decided to just stay there because she was in it. So she was fine. Alea, on the other hand, was in cyber school, and she quit because um she quit because she didn't feel like she was learning and progressing as much as when we did things together. So for Alea's curriculum, we've been doing the Great Courses. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Okay, the Great Courses is online college classes, but they're video college classes. So
Okay.
we do a lot of history. She's into science, environmental things, and then like she would write reports about the things that she does. And then I live in a lab because we have a ton of animals. And
Yes.
so she's learned so much biology and taking care of animals and the rest of it. So that kind of goes in there. Right now, she's finishing up she's finishing up biology and chemistry. And then
So when they graduate, I know your eldest finished with cyber school.
right.
If they were homeschooling and graduating, what are the requirements for your state, maybe,
Yeah,
for
you
them to
have to go by
graduate?
your state requirements, and there's usually 3 ways to do it. When the kids are in 10th grade, if you want, you know how they have the dual high school course with college?
Yes.
If you
Mhm.
put them into something like that, that earns the diploma. We also have co-ops because homeschoolers usually aren't at home, which is why we really need to change that, because you're always out doing something, whether it's classes or whatever. So if you're a part of a co-op that's it's like a nonprofit, it's an official one, it's an official entity, they can give out diplomas. And in Pennsylvania, a homeschool evaluator can give out diplomas. That's one thing that people need to understand with homeschooling. When you're doing cyberschooling, which is what most of the country is doing at the moment, the teachers are still doing the grades, the teachers are still recording the work. When you're homeschooling, that's on you. But it's not as bad as it was because I had heart attacks early on because you want to keep every piece of paper so nobody can say anything to you. But
Right.
but really, the rule is, at least in Pennsylvania, you have to show that you progressed from when you started in September to June. So you have to show that there's a progression of knowledge and the education is going on. So
You got
Alea is going to be the one through the evaluator.
okay. Y'all are watching Twin This with Tisha and Tanika. We are talking to Cheryl Henderson. She is a homeschooling mommy, but she's really given us the definition of the difference between homeschooling and cyber schooling. And so, with this pandemic going on, what is your view or your take or your opinion of the cyber schooling right now?
I feel sorry for the parents and
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
the children. Part of it is I'm aggravated, to be honest. Cyber school in Pennsylvania, there are cyber charter schools, and that's all they do. And I didn't understand why the regular brick and mortar schools, that's what we call the rest of you people, brick and mortar schools, didn't pull in the people who've been doing this 10, 15 years to help them set it up. So it's kind of like, well, they know how to do it, but I'm going to get a bottle and and I don't know, a piece of string and tell you this is a course. So that part really bothered me because it's not doing justice to anyone. And I think, especially since educationally America is it's nowhere near the top, I felt like during this pandemic was the time to do all that remedial stuff that people are not paying attention to. We should have been focusing on reading, math, writing, and building up thinking skills. I know they want to play with all these other courses, but there's only so much time in a day. So why don't you
Okay.
focus on the fundamentals, and then when everything supposedly gets back to normal, they'll have a basis to go forward.
Now you're
Rather
in
than
Pennsylvania. You're in Pennsylvania, I'm in Alabama. And so you talked about having schools there that were already cyber schools. We don't have that here. So that would have been an issue for us anyway.
But the companies exist. Agora is, I know, what is it, Connections? They're based in Florida. That's where their
Yes, yeah.
main is.
I've heard of
So you
connections.
can still pick up the phone and go, hey, how did you guys do this?
Right, right. And of
Instead
the
of acting
program
like,
that we're using in our state, I don't know if everyone is using it, but it was not the best program from what I understand. It was like not even mid-range for the students.
yeah, yeah. I
Nothing
felt
to
And what
nothing.
my children were on is like subpar as well because it's basically the children teaching themselves. Don't have a teacher like reaching out to say your child is missing this, that, or the other. It's really, but we all know with this pandemic, all of the kids, their grades are all going down, or what have you. So I don't know.
yeah.
Oh, hey Renee,
And hi,
how did
Renee.
you, Renee? How did you like the Connections Academy?
Connections.
You can type that in your comments, and I'll post it.
So I had one client who she was homeschooled, literally homeschooled, and she loved it. She graduated early, but she loved it because you learn at your own pace and you learn beyond. And
Yep.
her parents would travel with her and she got to experience life outside of the classroom. And so she was so smart, such a smart girl. But she did a lot of photography and film, and that's the area that she wanted to go into. So I thought she was brilliant to be homeschooled.
Yeah, I think that's the other misconception, that if you're homeschooling, what you're really doing is putting the kids in a closet and like pretending that you're teaching. But and I've heard weird stuff. But
Wow.
one of the things that I found with homeschooling in general, because I was with co-ops, the girls did dance, did all the other things that everybody else does. But one of the jokes was, she was a homeschooling mom. She said, you can always tell when it's a group of homeschoolers, because when they say line up, they don't know what to do. It's true. So I think with homeschooling, there's a lot more freedom. Michael, do I have time, Tisha?
Yeah.
It's for Michael. Okay. All right. My son, Michael, like the girls all read early. And I did the same thing with them, but Michael had problems and I couldn't figure out what it was. I tried different things, thought it was auditory, thought it was this or that. When he was at cyber school with my mom, when I put them in, he was evaluated for speech classes. And the teacher, who I'm so grateful to her, because she was actually retired, when she came out, she said there's nothing wrong with his auditory, but his visual seems to be wrong. And so from there, that sent me on another quest, and I found an optometrist that deals with actually how the brain and the eye works to get it to work together. His weren't working together at all. But one of the things that I appreciated about homeschooling is, because he was here, I could see what was going on, and I knew he was trying, and I knew there was something else. And I mean, I was doing sign language, I everything to try to help him with that. But I think homeschool kids, it's like I always wondered why, if you say you homeschool, people look at you kind of like you're crazy. But if you said, oh, I hired a private tutor for my kid, they'd be like, oh, that's wonderful. I am a private tutor for my kids. I just don't get paid.
Right, right,
Get that. I
right.
get that, because that is true. And they also look at homeschoolers like a little less than, like, oh, she's just, like a housewife or something like that. And that's what I wanted to touch on a little bit as well, because Cheryl is not just a homeschooler. She has her businesses. So she's been doing this for years, where it might be new to me, digital marketing and this, that, and the other, digital products, digital this, digital. This is what she's been doing for years. And not only does she have her businesses, but because she's at home with her kids have their own businesses as well. So, oh, wait, I got a comment. Let me just put this up, Miss Renee. Flexible schedule. We want the ice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
you get to see real people doing real things. One of the things, so that you guys can blush, because it's for both of you. One of the things that I really appreciate is like being with Tisha, and she's Alea's hair mama, and the rest of it, she's around people. She talks. That's the thing with the socialization. Alea has conversations. All of my kids are comfortable with adults, because we all have to work with adults in the end. And people ask me, oh, are they going to go to college or whatever? Jade didn't want to go to college. She said that from early on. Alea is still iffy, but because I feel, she hasn't told me, but I really feel, because of Tisha, even Tisha's example, she's not worrying about college right now, because right now she's working on her online empire and her pet sitting and her pet business that she wants to do.
Okay.
But she also understands that you can go to college later.
Right.
There's
right.
not that whole funneling where it's like you must do this and you must do that, and if you miss this step, oh my God, your life is over. She sees that life is life, and sometimes you go this way and sometimes you go that way.
Right.
But it's what you want to do, because it is your life. There's no magical road to get to where you want to get to. And when Tisha was in college, we helped with a couple of things, and Alea was
math, maybe math.
Hey.
And a little bit of PowerPoint too.
Yes.
But that is also an impact. So when we get to homeschool, we get to integrate with a lot of different people, so that they can really know what they want to do, not just what
Right,
Everybody's
because that's a business in itself. Like, you know, I don't want to say tutoring on computers or whatever, but I know I'm not good with PowerPoint. I've had students help me as well while I was in college,
right.
But when you don't know what you don't know, and you get
Yeah.
these young
Totally.
people,
You know,
yes. So, that's a business in itself. People pay for stuff like that.
Yeah. And Tisha put up one of the resources that she put up. I just wanted, because I'll forget, is one of the websites that I did is called Homeschool Alchemy. I did it with Deborah Esposito, who's also up here in the Poconos, and it has resources for people who are home, especially if they're thinking about homeschooling and they have little ones, but they're not sure about curriculum. It has everything and anything that you can find. News feeds, virtual trips, everything, history. So they can just go there and flip through stuff, and it just leads them to the websites that have the other information. So they don't have to struggle to figure out, okay, what do I do with this kid?
Okay.
again,
I
we're
was gonna
McDonald Alternatives Beauty Studio, and this is Tanika Gillard, and you are watching the Twinness. We are here talking about homeschooling versus cyber schooling, and we are talking to Cheryl, who is a homeschool mama, but she also has her businesses, and her children have their own businesses as well. So, although we might be new to this is something that comes easily to her. So, if you guys have any questions or remarks or anything, just type it in the chat. I will post it. We will answer it. Continue. Nika, you are about to ask a question?
No, I was just going to make a statement about you homeschooling, Cheryl, and noticing about your son. I'm happy that you had someone to come in and intervene, and that you found an optometrist, because a lot of times if he was going to traditional school, they probably would say he need medication or something like that. Whereas you were able to say, no, it's not that. It's something really medical, not behavioral. So
Right.
I'm happy that you were able. So I just wanted to commend you on that, because a lot of times they'll get in school and then they'll be labeled, and it's a whole nother fiasco. Whereas you were there and you was attentive, and you had that teacher that was there with the background, dealing with students for all those years, and she could say, she could point you in the right direction of where you needed to go.
Yeah, she was really, I really feel she was a godsend, because she she wasn't even supposed to be working. So that's why it's like, okay. Because I at that point I just didn't know, and I had never heard about it. And
Yes.
now once he started getting treatment for it, he reads, he can read. He's lazy, of course, but he he reads well.
Yeah.
He
So
wasn't
I
writing.
understand.
He now writes well. I mean, he writes, unless it's homework. Now if he's writing, now if
Unless
he's
it's
writing
homework.
about his latest project, I'll get all the words I want. If it's something I give him to write, suddenly he knows no words. But
No. Yeah, I have a hard time with my son right now, who he is not interested in doing any
yeah.
schoolwork. He's gonna do the bare minimum just to get by.
Exactly. And I think the other thing that homeschooling allows you to do is to set up the apprenticeships. Because really, when you're like 14, because you remember back in the day at 14 in New York, you could get a
Mm-hmm.
job.
You're
So
already working.
Yes.
Yeah.
you were working, you were feeling productive, you got your little clothes, you bought your
Yes.
little stuff, and you were feeling grown up. I feel like now they don't let them do that. It's like they keep
No,
trying to
you
squeeze
have
them
to be
back into that.
16
16. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and
with
I think
limited
that's a bad
hours.
thing. Yeah. So now,
I
like
was
with
limited then too, Tanika. At
yeah,
14,
no,
you was
but
limited. You heard of child labor laws.
they got
I'm
energy
just saying,
to
at
work.
16, you should be able to work the weekends, but
Yes.
you limited on the hours even on the
Yeah.
weekends in
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the same up here.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I feel one of the benefits my kids had was because when you're a when you're an entrepreneur at home and you have kids, anything that you pay them, this is a tax tip that I got, at least in Pennsylvania. I think I'm not sure, it might be
It's
Here
across
nationwide,
the
but
too,
board.
Alabama too,
Across the
yeah,
board
Alabama
so
too.
too.
you pay the little people to help you out, and that's a tax break, so that's good. So they've worked on my clients' things. Right now, Alea is been basically hired by one of my clients because she was impressed with what she did. So she's getting real work experience. She's had her tears when she did something wrong and the boss was like, not me, what are you doing kind of deal. But I think that's all good. And then Michael,
Yeah.
since he's 14, when Alea got her bonus, which was a nice bonus, Michael was like, hey, this computer thing that I've been trying to get him to use?
Yes.
Maybe it isn't, but really, he's really interested in working with his hands. So right now I'm looking, anybody listening who knows some carpenters who want some help, that's what he's interested in. I'm trying to get, foster that, because I think he would be better.
Okay, so then why for Michael would you consider sending him to like MCTI so he could go for carpentry?
I did look at that, and then I didn't get far because then COVID came. So because he just turned 14, so he couldn't go before.
Right,
Right.
That was
right.
I was
My
putting him
son
at
was
that.
doing, yeah, my son was doing electrical here in his school, but with COVID, there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah, I mean, I found a school down in Philadelphia for when he's a little bit older. So if I can't get him in that way, I'll just do the
Okay.
other.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's the other thing. Homeschoolers aren't necessarily against school.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
I mean, I just want to do what's best for them, and however that works, that's how it works. For
Now
me,
on the
they've
flip
always had.
side, oh, Renee said something else. Renee, you just conversating with us tonight. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mompreneur, we have networks with network.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you was talking about your children seeing Tisha and doing what she does. And that's one of the things I stress to all young people. And I'm going to say it to the viewers, I don't feel like you have to know what you want to do at 18 or 19. I didn't go to nursing school till I was 25. Yeah, I went to school before then, but I didn't know what I wanted to major in. So I have an associate's with just liberal arts because I didn't know. But it wasn't until I was 25 that I went to nursing school. And then I was 45 when I went to get my bachelor's in psychology. So one thing I like to say to my son and to other people, my clients, you can work for someone and be successful, or you can work for yourself and be successful. The choice is up to you. You don't have to feel limited or boxed in or feel pressured, like you said, to know what you want to do today, But and it's also what people
Cheryl.
see around them.
Mm-hmm. Cheryl, do you see Michelle's
Yeah.
post?
Yeah. 4 days in and 1 day home. Okay, so then I'll give him a call in because he just turned 14, so maybe he can go. I'll call him.
Michelle, let me tell you, out here in Delaware, um, it's mandatory for them to take, right, Renee? It's mandatory for them to take like a home economics, but it's not home economics. Like they can take culinary. They have to take it in high school. They have to take something. So Ray is opting to take animals because she wants to be an environmental lawyer. So she's taken animal science and plant science on top of her regular courses, but that's considered like MCTI or a technical because they actually have a barn on at the school where she will go, and when the pigs have their piglets, they're required to bring the little piglets home and take care of them on the weekends and stuff like that.
They're
So
cute.
yeah, it is kind of cute, right? It is. But Michael, he wants to do culinary, so he will be. They have to have a skill. It's
Well, that's the
mandatory out
same
here. It's
thing
not an
that I was
option.
saying here in
Mhm.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Cordell has electrical. After 4 years, he's certified, could work for the electric
Right.
company. He also has graphic T-shirt design. That was his second choice, and he's doing
Yes.
that. So they have something each year, but
Right.
he builds specifically on electrical because they get certified at the end.
Right.
Right.
And they come out making good money, getting a decent paying job,
Right.
Yeah, because actually that's what I think. I think that sums it up. The whole point of this exercise is to get them to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
So, it's like whatever, we have to do that. But I like that. I like in Delaware, because Pennsylvania doesn't have that. You don't have to take anything to graduate
Right,
out.
you don't have to, but out here you
Yeah.
do. And I love that
Yeah.
because that was the way it was back in the day when in
Yep.
Long Island, when we went to school, we had to
Yep.
take home ec, sewing, something. We had to take something. We had to
Mhm.
leave there with a skill.
Yeah. A number of vet tech on campus. That's cool.
Yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
Michelle.
that
Many
is.
schools do not have that option.
See, if they had the vet tech in school, Alea probably would have gone. She
Leia.
put up with the teachers.
Yep. Yep. Now I have one thing because I went to school. Here's my grandson, peeking at me. I went to school with a girl. This was when I was in cosmetology school, and she was homeschooled from the ground up. And she went to cosmetology school. She found that that was very,
Stressful.
safe, comfortable. No, she found that to be family oriented. Then after, she's a smart, smart, smart girl. Tanika, you know who I'm talking about. Her name is Leanne. Um, she went off
Oh,
to college. She went to Bloomsburg, and she just felt like a fish out of water. Like it was just too big for her. It was just, and even though Bloomsburg is a small college, she felt that it was too much for her. It was overwhelming. I think she maybe did 1 year, maybe one semester. I'm not sure, but she ended up dropping out because it was just overwhelming for her to go to this class, to go to that class, to have large class settings. So I don't know how it would be hard for you to say because your kids are homeschooled, but in that kind of setting, because they're in a whole new world to go off to college straight from being at home all that time, then go like
Yeah.
right
you
in.
know, I'm just throwing this out here, Cheryl, but there's a lot of colleges online. You don't
Online.
even have to go to campus.
Well, she
Yeah.
wanted to get the college experience.
I
She wanted to get
understand.
to know, but then when she got there, it was like, oh, this is overwhelming. I can't, because she'd never been in that setting before. But she knew she didn't want to just be home on a computer because that's all she knew was being home, going to school at home. So she wanted to experience something different.
I think it depends on the child. Jade, if she had wanted to go to college, she would never have gone to a campus
Okay.
because that wouldn't have happened. Alea would probably have gone, but only if it was something that interested her where she had to be hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alea is, as you know, is quite independent and she's a self learner.
Mm-hmm.
She teaches herself things all the time. So for her, I guess that's the other thing. For her, the social is different from the school. Because if she's going to school is to learn something. If she's going to go hang out, then that has nothing to do with school. And I
True,
think a
but a
lot of
lot of today in today's day and time, you want to be social and go to school. There's no
yeah,
separation of the two when the kids are in brick and mortar. It all
right,
goes hand in hand. We're being social and we're learning, but are
right.
we really all learning? Like
And the other thing
some of us are
is
doing more socializing than learning.
My
right.
son, my son.
And then like for Michael, he would probably like that because out of all of my kids, he needs more stimulation. So for him to be in the big thing, I would probably have to rein him in because he'd probably find every party, and I'd have to be like, okay, look, you're paying for this because I'm not paying for you to find a new party. You have to get some schoolwork done.
Right,
So I think it
right.
depends on the kid.
It
Also,
does.
All right,
yeah.
we got another comment from Miss Renee.
Okay.
Several Votex schools, the school my son goes to, offers culinary arts, computer program. Yes, the same mine. Business
Okay.
administration with law, yes. With connections to the local, you're right.
Yep.
For just about free,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's my
Yeah.
other option. I might be able to, if I put Michael back into the cyber school he was in before, because they do have connections. Thank you, Renee, for reminding me. They do have connections with the colleges. Oh, one other thing. When the kids are little, um, that's one thing you can't really deal with the schools. But once the kids hit high school age, they're allowed to participate in all the things that a regular high school, so sports if they're interested in it or whatever, they're allowed to have access to that at that
Right,
point. So that's another thing people go, oh, they don't get to socialize and see people. That's not really
right.
true. It
I
just depends
remember
on what
when my son Melvin, he was going to I think Cyber Academy. Is that correct? Does that sound familiar?
yeah, the
Cyber
one in
Academy?
Georgia. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We had to go, he had to be tested. We had to go to Camelback for his testing, like I don't
The
know, whatever the
PSSA.
yeah, the PSSAs.
Yeah.
So that's what they considered like socialization. They could go up there and I don't know,
I
whatever.
don't know. I thought that was just testing.
Well, that was the testing, but they had like other things that they would be offering
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah, they
kids to
always
meet
that
here and there.
yeah, that's true. The cyber charter school actually, if you did everything that they offered, you wouldn't actually get to the schoolwork part because we were in Commonwealth Connections
Hmm.
and they do the whole state. So you could go, let's say there was a ski trip, you know, let's say in Shawnee, which
Hmm.
is close to us, and you couldn't go to that one, but down there's one down in Philadelphia. You just sign up and you can go there. So we did a lot of traveling that way. Also with the school, we would go to different places, and we made some friends and stuff. So we try to coordinate when everybody could get together, especially if we lived in different areas of the state. That was like a good meeting place as well.
All right, guys. I want to say thank you to Miss Cheryl for all of her insights. I want to say thank you guys for joining us today. And if you didn't see us live, you're going to catch us on a replay. So we want to say thank you for watching on the replay. This is the Twinness. Do you have any last words, Cheryl?
They grow up. You'll survive. It's okay.
Take a moment for yourself, right?
Yeah, you do. You have to, because if you get too drained, then you can't give what you don't have. And I know you both know it because you're both really busy. So, you know, give yourself and give your kids a break. Oh, one last thing. If you homeschool, just homeschool all year round, the law usually is 900 hours a year. It doesn't say when that 900 hours has to happen. So I did it all year round because there were weeks where it was like, I don't want to talk to none of you people. so,
Right, right, right,
so we are
right.
on our
They
2 week
need a
break.
break too. I'm sure they felt the same way. They was like, Mom, we don't want to
Exactly.
deal with you today. They wouldn't say it, I hope. You
I
know,
don't know. They might, at least very quietly in their rooms.
very quiet.
Yeah,
Yes.
so just give yourself a break and work it the way that it works for you, because every home is going to be different.
Absolutely. This is Tanika Gillard. You have Tisha McDonald. We have Cheryl Henderson talking with us tonight. Sunday, we'll be coming to you guys live. We missed y'all a couple of Sundays. We had Super Bowl, we had Valentine's. So we're going to bring everything together for you guys on this Sunday with parting, adorning, and plaiting natural hair. And we'll probably review cornrows and twists. We're just going to bring it all together for you guys on Sunday. So bring your mannequins or get you a real life person and have your mother or your sister sit down in a chair and you can practice on them. So we'll see you guys on Sunday at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time for our braiding session. And it's free, you guys. So bring a friend or tell someone.
Okay.
And share this video because then whoever sees it will know that Sunday will be live teaching you these tricks and tips, the basics that most teens want to know or are trying to learn on another platform, but they cannot ask questions live. We will answer the questions live, and you have two of us. And as we saw a couple of weeks ago, I have 3 ways to braid. My sister has 2 ways to braid, and we braid differently and we braid the same. So just because we're twins doesn't mean we do things the same. Have a good night, everyone, and hope to see you
Okay.
Sunday.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Cheryl.
Okay. Bye.